Hey folks, how you doing? My name's Dustin Cormier and welcome to How to Rock Astrology. Today we are going to be talking about what it's like when you have the Sun in Aquarius and Mars in Sagittarius. I'm going to say a few of my own words about the idea, and then after that we're going to read from Erotic Astrology by Phyllis Vega to get a little bit more of a sense of the juicy, erotic, experienced, lived nature in the body of this particular combination. Now, this can be a lusty combination. This can be a particularly sexually driven Aquarius. Although they have the vital energy that produces sexuality, but they don't necessarily get obsessed with sexuality. That's the thing, is that they're typically probably good at it. They're good, graceful lovers, because the Mars in Sagittarius has the capacity to grip its body and to grip its magnetism and force in a tomboyishly vital, youthful way, because that Mars is coming through Jupiterian Sagittarius. Mars is friends with Jupiter, so the Mars here is also close to its exaltation, so it brings strength, optimism, buoyancy, willingness to really go and get what it wants in this combination with Aquarius. Now, Aquarius can be kooky. Aquarius is like even sometimes quasi-kinky, and they like to take love lightly as well as sex lightly. They enjoy doing it, and they can go hard at it and have deep fun with it, depending on how important sex is to them. But usually, ultimately, the Mars in Sagittarius here is also idealistic, has a noble intent, and ultimately this person wants to use everything, including their sexuality, and transmute it into something that is humanitarian and that will give them a sense of glory. Now, this is an Aquarius, which is the 11th sign of the zodiac, right? This Aquarius is using Mars to get what it wants. And what it wants is, Aquarius loves, like, in a way, the limelight. It knows what people like. It knows what people appreciate and respect. And this Aquarius in particular, Aquarius just is that 11th sign coming after Capricorn. Its 11th house things relates to Aquarius, and that's gains, fame, and name in our personal chart. It just so happens that, it's usually not a huge thing to read a planet from the sun, but there is such a thing as the solar chart, the Surya chart, Surya Lagna in Vedic astrology. So you read everything from the sun. In this case in particular, the Mars is in the 11th house from the sun. Sagittarius is the 11th house from Aquarius. So, with that being said, this kind of goes to show that the Mars is bringing out this Aquarius uses a faithful sense of its close loved ones, and it really puts its mind towards what would be valued by their circle, by their philosophical circle, by the people who are driven to the same ethic of humanitarian ideals. These people really want to impress those who would give them the glory, the internal glory they seek of impressing people for doing good things that are, pragmatically speaking, practically good, expansive, and even moral and ethical. Whatever that means to the individual. So this is an Aquarius for whom a lot of the rather constraining, restricting elements of Saturn's rulership of Aquarius, a lot of that is released in the strength and confidence of the Mars in Sagittarius. Jupiter and Saturn are neutral to each other. So here the king of the chart, the sun coming through Saturn, is like neutral and can work with the Mars. Like, it's not a great natural friendship, but Aquarius here can jive enough with the Mars and Sagittarius so that the two of them are interposed towards the same goals a lot of the time, most of the time. Mars is going to be the sun's right-hand man no matter what. It's how we express our inspiration. Mars is our way, our path of expressing our inspiration. Here, the path of expression, Mars, comes through a buoyant, yet lusty a Jupiterian energy, an inspired, youthful Jupiter energy. The Mars is being expanded through that, and this is intermixing with the sun's desire to be connected with specific things that relate to the freedom of the sun's expression. This is opposite Leo. So this Aquarius sun, there's a reflection of Leo. This person wants to be creative, but they want to, Aquarius wants to do things that gives them a sense of the freedom to be connected to certain things. They want to be connected to they want to be seen in a certain limelight, but they want to have the freedom to go as they please to wherever they want to go. The Mars and Sagittarius here doubles that sense of wanting to be an individual and to have your own little circuits that you put your energy into for your constructive humanitarian goals and purposes. This Mars and Sagittarius is always kind of scattered anyway. Now, the scatterment and expansion of this Mars is working to expand and to find people who understand how the sun is applying its restrained, its disciplined, refined, technical mind of Aquarius, the ego of Aquarius, which wants to be seen as being useful, understanding the watery logic of technology and of the ergonomics of design and these sorts of Aquarian things. So this kind of mind is coming through this buoyant optimism of Sagittarius. In bed, like sexually speaking, this can make for a very technical and inventive sort of lover who probably wants to go on mental scenes that are still light. This person would love to go on little adventures, little sensuous adventures, possibly have some little teasing and even athletic competitiveness coming from the Mars and Sagittarius, while the Sun in Aquarius gets to have its light, fun little experiences of life on Earth in the positive way that Sun in Aquarius often likes to seek. This is a freedom-loving person who probably expects a freedom-loving lover. Generally speaking, Sun in Aquarius can actually be very like this. I don't necessarily mean like they want to seek many lovers. Some may, you can't just tell whether you're going to be polyamorous just by your Sun and Mars. Although this is a funny one because ultimately the Sun in Aquarius they can be funky about like getting into love, especially where emotions are concerned. But they want to have somebody who they dig their values, what they're going for, what their causes are. And this is doubled with the Mars and Sagittarius here. That ethical, moral principle is important to them. Ultimately, this is an okay combination, especially because while the Sun doesn't do its best in Aquarius, being ruled by Saturn, Saturn is an enemy to the Sun. So it's not the gardener is not in their own garden, and they don't know whether they're allowed to put their vegetables here or here or here. They're not used to the lay of the land. Aquarius' Sun, the ego energy of the Sun, is just kind of watered. It's just kind of pushed down by the Aquarian instinct towards harmony and humanitarian, idealistic reflection. They want to be seen as being reflectively responsible to people. But that being said, that's the Saturn kind of constricting the dignity of the Sun. But Sun here is still quite close to Aries. So this is definitely much better than Capricorn. That one sign makes a huge difference between Sun and Capricorn, and Sun in Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign, which kind of is better for the Sun as well than Earth. So all of that being said, because the Sun is like only 2 houses away from its exaltation point in Aries here, remember, exaltation works by proximity. Just because, somebody might say, oh, the Sun is in Pisces, and that's not Aries. The Sun is exalted in Aries, so it's in Pisces, so there's no exaltation. That's not how it works. The Sun is getting pretty close to its exaltation point, and it's in proximity of it, so that brings out more strength, more self-realization in the Sun, more self-direction and guidance. Aquarius can actually constrain itself to very inspiration-driven directives, and that's part of what Aquarius is. This Mars in Sagittarius really uplifts the whole Saturn constricting the Aquarius person thing. So this is a very idealistic humanitarian person who goes for it, who considers it part of their noble intention and purpose to go for whatever skill that the Aquarius wants to get good at in order that they can share with the world and be seen in the glory of. Pretty good little wrap-up of this whole vibe. But we got more coming for you, folks. That was kind of my little wrap on this combination. Now we're going to read from Erotic Astrology by Phyllis Vega and get a little bit of the sense of, again, the lived-in, experienced, juicy nature of Aquarius Sun with Mars and Sagittarius. This is Aquarius with Mars and Sagittarius in bed. Aquarians are open to suggestion and generally willing to experiment in the bedroom. As an intellectual, your initial reactions to things are more cerebral than physical. The Mars in Sagittarius here, though, has a real radiant physicality that they push off energetically through the Mars in Sagittarius. The fuck me eyes, right? Or just like, maybe not like that, but like a discerning lustiness in one's looks and motions and movements. A confidence, a buoyancy. Aquarius is not especially sentimental or romantic, but the water bearer Aquarius is super idealistic. The person interested in winning your love can skip the moonlight, flowers, and poetry. However, if he or she betrays your trust, an Aquarius, in any way, you're not likely to forgive or forget. Although the Mars in Sagittarius in this person is kind of working towards people who can mutually just be willing to kind of let things go when those things happen. It is Mars there, so it's not necessarily to say that you're always going to be forgiving. Aquarius does hold on to those things in order to judge character. Aquarius really goes for what's familiar again. That is why the Mars in Sagittarius expands Aquarius, but that Aquarian instinct is still there. On a physical level, Aquarians tend to be low-key, letting the other person take the initiative. However, any approach needs to be subtle and tactful. You can be coaxed and seduced, but you refuse to be dominated. That's true. All of this is actually the whole letting the other person take the initiative. Again, the Mars in Sagittarius here is contradictory to that and might make you do a little bit more of the going towards things. Romantically, you're something of a slow starter, but once you get going, you make a passionate, imaginative, enthusiastic, and considerate lover, just Aquarius Sun. Remember, sorry, I guess I should have said, my intention here is to speak about what this book says about Aquarius Sun, and then afterwards, this book has a reading of Aquarius Sun with Mars and Sagittarius. For now, this is just the erotic psyche of Aquarius Sun. Afterwards, we're going to say, what does Mars and Sagittarius bring to this Aquarian erotic psyche? Now, for the Aquarius, there's a delightfully sexual being lurking beneath your cool intellectual demeanor. And the lover who recognizes this is in for a wild ride indeed. Despite this, some part of your emotional nature is always held in reserve, so you never totally lose either your head or your heart. Mars and Sagittarius here is more of that. It's a buoyancy. It's healthy, so it will be willing to say what it needs, what it desires. It's going to wear its heart on its sleeve, and that helps. That helps with the emotions. But it looks buoyantly and optimistically towards dealing with those emotions, which means it won't always be as thinning, as cutting, and as true to the emotions as, say, Mars and Scorpio or Mars and Capricorn. Now, Aquarius turn-ons and turn-offs. As befits an air sign, Aquarians approach sex mentally as well as physically. Your bedroom antics are greatly enhanced when you're able to share your thoughts and ideas with your lover. Your natural curiosity inclines towards creative experimentation between the sheets, again, all too increased by that Mars and Sagittarius. Physically, you are strongly sexed and passionate. However, your mind is easily distracted, which can cause you to ignore the needs and desires of your body. When this happens, a few verbal reminders of the delights you are missing out on are all it takes to inflame your lusty libido. Because Aquarius's mind and imagination is their major erotic zones, you respond as readily to spoken intentions as to physical stimulation. Since you enjoy a bit of fun mixed in with your lovemaking, you like being with a bedmate who amuses you. Stylized role-playing fantasies and sex games can add a touch of spice and glamour to your love life. The air signs tend to be like that. The Mars and Sagittarius here might have a realness, a true themselves, a physical body contact that always comes through, so that whatever character they're playing, it's always me, baby. You can call my name Pizza Guy for now, but I know what you're really saying. So it's the Mars and Sagittarius that has an honesty here, and it's physical, that demands to be more than just whatever light Aquarian thing is happening. Although this person still takes things light. There's probably a desire to perfect, even a tantric ability here, because of the Mars in Sagittarius being willing and buoyant about disciplining the sexuality and the physical muscles and the drive. Aquarius can be wildly passionate one night, yet seemingly disinterested the next. The romantic fantasy that got your sexual juices flowing last night may have the opposite effect today. Aquarians are generally freewheeling, open-minded, and sexually liberated. Yet, despite that touch of kinkiness in your makeup, you do truly dislike outright vulgarity, although this Mars and Sagittarius might add a bit more of a loose shotgun, a willing, blunt, honest shotgun than other Aquarians. Although ultimately the Aquarius will still keep a relative hold of not being too much, too outrageous. They'll do things that are intellectually outrageous and intelligent and quirky and funky, but nothing too vulgar or even pushy or aggressive in that sense, because they are an air sign. Whereas hashing out your lustful intentions with your lover is a genuine turn-on. You're turned off by really crude or raunchy behavior. Interesting. I could definitely see that being the Aquarian mind. It's an air sign, and it's ruled by Saturn. So it does have that quirky Saturnian heaviness and willingness to go deep into heavy things. But most of the Aquariuses I know are actually sensitive people who don't want too much vulgarity, who can only stand so much hard tension for so long without to feel like they don't need to deal with that, and they don't care about it, and they don't want it, and they don't like it, and get it out of here. Again, all of these things in Aquarius are increased, not necessarily increased, but given more strength because of Mars and Sagittarius' willingness to cut through the heavy tongue, the lack of true spitting out honesty. The Mars and Sagittarius does a real positive way of bringing out the Aquarius a little bit out of their shell and out of their instincts. Into their instincts, maybe I should say, to help grip their instincts. I guess instincts, I meant fear. You know, they get let go of the instinct of fear, and they can grip more towards an optimistic sense of using that instinct. That's what I meant. So anyway, that was a reading of really the sun in Aquarius with a little flavor of me adding my rendition of what Mars and Sagittarius adds to that Aquarian sexy ego. Now we're going to read from this book and get a real reading of this combined figure of Sun in Aquarius with Mars and Sagittarius. Same book, Erotic Astrology. Both your Sun and Mars signs incline towards wariness of any commitment that curbs your ability to move around without restraint. No matter how close you get to your mate, there's always a part of you that you reserve solely for yourself. In the bedroom, you're an innovative, fiery, and enthusiastic lover. Although you regard sex as extremely liberating, pleasurable, and fun, for you, a long-term relationship should be based on common interests and ideals and the sharing of a larger purpose. Some shamanic intent, some inner ethic that goes beyond just enjoyment for enjoyment's sake, goes beyond the petty ideals of humans, of typical humans, goes into something deeper, more meaningful. So that Mars and Sagittarius really yearns for that adventurous feeling of noble completion of some kind of dharma through Mars, to complete the humanitarian instincts of that Aquarius, the glory that that Aquarius is seeking. Lots of cool power here to be recognized for one's talents and skills. And in the bedroom, that could also be a thing. Very cool. So I hope you guys dug that. I'm Dustin Cormier for How to Rock Astrology. I've always got more of this fun, interesting, erotic, juicy stuff to share with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave us a comment, let us know what you think. And if you did enjoy it and you're watching for the first time, feel free to subscribe, because I've always got more videos coming out and along these lines. You know, I've got my Sextrology Sun videos. I've already got quite a few of those out. Feel free to check them out. And all things astrology, I'm always going to have more stuff coming out, folks. So I hope you enjoy. I'm Dustin Cormier for How to Rock Astrology. See you guys on the flip side. Thanks for watching.